Okay,
No,
he's already there. He told me that 15 minutes.
no, don't worry. Even if he comes and joins, we will wait for him. People keep joining because we should go live on the Facebook. People will be waiting world over.
Oh,
So
okay.
all the best. Kindly mute your mics and we go ahead. Ajay, you're doing good job. The first slide you have taken. We have to bring first slide, child. You have to share from here, first slide. That is the one. You have to bring it up now. First slide. Oh, it's gone minimum. This slide is small. Is this slide visible to you, Mr. Sandeep?
Yes, I can see that. No problem.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Because it's getting world over now. So here we go. Is my mic? Yes. Okay. So green early morning to Canada, Latin America, United States, all our brothers and sisters on the eastern coast and western coast of Canada, United States and different countries. It was such a pleasure this morning. Now, of course, it's evening here in India. And at the same time, it's little late evening in Southeast Asia because this program is dedicated to ASEAN in the evening. Since morning you had, this is the third program. I'm so grateful that all of you from the different groups, different fraternity, you're coming for this program, enjoying this program. Early morning, you had Secretary School Education, Government of India, Ministry of HRD. Thereafter, we had gone for program from United States. That was from 9:30 to 11 a.m. India's time. And now on Sunday evening, this is the third program, which is dedicated to India-ASEAN partnership. And where we are trying to focus on education, research, joint collaborations, whatever we can do in ecosystem of education, where the students exchange, faculty exchange, knowledge exchange, and a couple of things which we can share. This all is being done because our president is dedicated and he is based out of Bangkok. Professor Pontrep Narula, he is the president of ICSI. And besides him, we also have got Dato Ramesh Kodamalji, the co-chairman of the ASEAN India Business Council. He took initiative and he's gathering a lot of people. So my brothers and sisters, those are watching us world over, you're going to have a wonderful panel this evening from ASEAN. So before I introduce the panel to you and share, let me just move further in the world. Let me come out of Canada, United States, and Latin American countries. I know Pratapji in Peru, thank you very much. Mrs. Kapoor in Peru, thank you very much for joining. And at the same time, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, all the places, we extend a very hearty welcome to all of you for joining for this program. Let's move to now somewhere on the Central Asia. But before that, let me go to the Europe also. All the different countries, European Union, all of you, brothers and sisters, non-resident Indians and fellow natives, those are belonging to European countries, they all are also part of this particular webinar with us. The fraternity is increasing every day. And our vision is that by 15th of August, Bharat Swatantrata Divas, that means India's Independence Day, you will have 1 million educators. 1 million educators, motivators, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and the youth from the world over as a part of this program, the global fraternity, global confluence of educators and motivators. And the whole purpose is how to make education relevant, And at the same time, the focus this evening is going to be on ASEAN and India. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from Europe, let me come to Central Asia. We extend a very hearty welcome to our brothers and sisters. Those are located in Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan. Wherever you are, we extend you a very warm welcome. Thanks for joining this particular webinar. I come to the Middle East. All my brothers, sisters, my children, lovely children, bubbling children, and of course, my teachers and educators also, those join Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Doha, Qatar, Oman, all the places people are coming. I'm so grateful to all of you. Each day I see hordes and so many people coming. A new fraternity joins us. That's a great, great encouragement. अभी मैं भारत में आता हूं तो शाम के 5:05 हुए हैं, तो मातृभाषा में आपसे बातचीत करता हूं। आप सबका शुभ स्वागत है, नमस्कार है सबको। आज की इस शुभ संध्या में, जबकि कोविड-19 के पीरियड से हम गुजर रहे हैं, अरे बहुत सारी मुश्किलें आती हैं, मुसीबतें आती हैं, डिफिकल्टीज आती हैं, ये फेज भी निकल जाएगा। देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम इफ यू टेक केयर ऑफ योर हेल्थ, इफ यू टेक केयर ऑफ योर वेलनेस, इफ यू रिमेन फिट, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सब कुछ यहां से निकल जाएगा। और यहां से, इंडिया से अब मैं आपको लेके चलता हूं 650 million wonderful, bubbling and energetic people. Those are located in different 10 countries of the ASEAN. You have got Myanmar, you have got Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei. We extend a very hearty welcome to people, those who have joined from this particular area. And of course, my deep thanks to Mrs. Geeta Chopra and her husband Rajneesh. You bring a big group from Bahrain every evening for these programs. We extend you a very warm welcome to be a part of this program with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share a few slides with you, because the new members, those are joining this evening, so that you will understand what exactly we are talking about, why this program, what is the relevance of this program, and what exactly we are going to cover in this particular program. Ladies and gentlemen, world over, when I talk about, there are more than 30 million non-resident Indians. Those have gone world over. They are in different countries, at different places, in different locations. And our focus is how to empower basically the entire education system globally, because now the whole world is one family. That is the way we have to look at, because the COVID-19 and particularly this pandemic has brought approximately 1.6 billion children and youth, roughly half of the world's students population. Those are at present away from their schools and colleges and universities. They are with their parents at home. And this evening, our friends and our panelists, our distinguished guests from ASEAN, they would be sharing a lot of vision, what exactly is happening in ASEAN, how the things are. Global education collaboration. Now, through this particular webinar, world over, wherever you are, whosoever you are, if you are a part of the education fraternity, education ecosystem, whether you are a director, executive director, MD, vice chancellor, you are a teacher, you are a counselor, you are a psychologist, psychiatrist, you are a technical person, or whosoever is giving vocational, technical, engineering, management, whatsoever area you belong to, school, colleges, universities, polytechnics, ITIs, all that when we take into consideration, it's a one world, one love, and one family. That is Vasudev Kutumbakam, that's coming from India. We want all of us to be together. Wherever you are world over, if you're watching this particular program, should you wish to have a special program for your children, for your teachers during this COVID-19, our chamber is doing international beaming every day. We are reaching more than 1 million people world over. Youth are there, teachers are there, others are there. We would be more than happy to support you as well. When the beaming is taking place, we're going to just put the frequency with you as well, and the people can watch, people can take. We're going to Mongolia, we're going to a couple of other countries. So depending on your need, your demand, and please don't forget, during lockdown, music therapy is very important. If you remain happy, if you remain musical, half of your problem will be over. So always try and communicate with others in a happy way, musical therapy, musical way. That part you have to take care of. You got to have an empathy, anti-depression, stress management, anxiety, wellness, and of course, holistic healing leading to life management skills. During this lockdown, we started this particular webinar series. You will be so happy to know that on 5th of June, and it's a continuous series, not even a break for one day, not even a break for one day. In fact, on Sunday, we have got 3 webinars. We start early in the morning at 9 o'clock and we go till this particular program, the last program. So it's such a wonderful experience. More and more people, those are joining us. We are getting new ideas. We are getting new pedagogies. We are sharing a lot of new vision. So each one of you is a hearty welcome, more than welcome. Be a part of this global fraternity. Share your ideas. If you're watching us on the Facebook, come on the page of Dr. Gulshan Sharma. You can watch live the entire program on the Facebook and you can see it. You can open the watch party. You can have all your friends also to be connected. That is the way we are trying to enter world over the entire education fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about making education relevant, of course, these are the areas which I've shared with you. Every Saturday morning, that was yesterday morning also, the relevance of Buddha's teaching in today's education. We got the speaker from France, Australia, Myanmar. We also got the people from Thailand. So slowly and gradually, there is a 500 million plus fraternity and a community of the Buddhist community world over. They are also becoming a part of this. And our total focus is what is the relevance of Buddha's teachings in today's education. When I talk about ASEAN, Buddhism plays a very important role. And we say to everybody, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. That is the way. And we go globally with everybody. Every Saturday evening. Saturday morning, you've got Buddhism. Saturday evening, when we come on to 7 to 8 p.m., we talk about wellness, yoga, meditation, naturopathy, nutrition, good food, healthy food, positive thoughts, positive mindset, everything to be taken into consideration, Ayurveda for the global wellness. So coming Saturday on 18th of July, don't forget to join us. You can enjoy very well. And before in ASEAN countries, you slip into your bed, you can have health, happiness, humor, and holistic living through education. All of us together, you can just come on the Facebook page. We have given and listed over here the Facebook page, Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page. Come on that, watch party, open it, try and enjoy, log on as many people, bring as many people as you can. Every Sunday morning, you have got living a meaningful life, Shrimad Bhagavad Gita in today's education. There's a professor who comes from the Woodbury University, Burbank in California, USA, and he dedicates every Sunday in the morning 1.5 hours, and he discusses so much living a meaningful life. What exactly is the purpose of my life? Who am I? What am I doing on this planet? And what I can contribute to this particular planet. Ultimately, the goal is making education relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, we have already discussed water conservation. This is something very interesting, and I was sharing with my friend from Cambodia who joined us this evening. 15th of July is a historic day by the United Nations. It's a World Youth Skills Day. We are starting a new program, Youth Empowerment Strategies. And we are going to take so many things for the youth because yes, positivity is very important. And what does youth want? We will try and understand. Every day you will be having 10 youth in the webinar along with the panelists, and they would also express their views along with the panel discussion. Our chamber world over, 149 countries, ICSI Global Team Research, they have done the research in the month of March, April, May, June. And when we come on to this entire thing, the food and the food processing and the export, that is the first priority. We all have to understand during this lockdown, during this COVID-19, some of us are facing extreme situation, but some of us are opened up also. Some of us are opening up also. It depends country to country how the situation is. But our request would be to each one of you, please look after yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors, your community, your family, and all the people those are directly, indirectly associated with you. So ladies and gentlemen, basic food you have to take care of. Start growing basic vegetables in your residence, in your kitchen garden, on your rooftop. It will do wonders for all of us. That is very important. Second is, take care of your health, herbal and happiness. Your mental fitness and your physical fitness, both are very important. And the third part is, education will never ever get back to what it used to be in January and February. We got to move on to digital mode. We got to move to the blended mode, and there's going to be a sustainable development. And B2B will not be known anymore as business to business. It will be known as back to basics of life. That is something what we have to understand. And over here, when I talk about whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, let me endorse and re-endorse and emphasize and re-emphasize, whatsoever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together from the world over. Global Education Empowerment. International Chamber for Service Industry, www.icsiindia.in. We extend you a very warm welcome. Should you wish to be a panelist, you want to send any suggestion, you want any kind of a participation, you're more than welcome. You can send your email at innovation@icsi.asia, or you can also come on the WhatsApp numbers which have been given to you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, like film celebrities, like it happens in the film industry, the anchor always invite the celebrities in a proper fashion to get the award and the reward and the honor. Like the doctors, nurses, and paramedical people are the warriors, our education fraternity and people, those are empowering the education system, they are also warriors. We hold them in the great respect. So ladies and gentlemen, let me extend a very warm welcome from the bottom of my heart. Some of the distinguished guests, those have joined us from the ASEAN countries, those 10 beautiful countries. We extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Rajiv Rawal from Myanmar. He is the Managing Director, ABC International Myanmar, and Vice President of India Myanmar Chamber of Commerce, and alumni of Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata. Rajiv brings with him 3 decades of cross-functional leadership experiences in pharmaceutical industry across diverse geographies and Southeast Asia, India, Middle East, all that we are taking the geographies of the different regions. In his previous assignment as head of the operation, Rajiv ji he established Dr. Reddy's as most admired pharmaceutical company in Myanmar, built mega brands and built organizational capabilities backed up by a strong team. We extend a very hearty welcome this evening to Mr. Rajiv Rawal from Myanmar. My second celebrity, what a pleasure. He's smiling here also. When I met him in Cambodia, he was smiling and laughing there also. Wonderful person. His university looks like a corporate house. If you go over there, when I visited the capital of Cambodia, Phnom Penh, I visited his prestigious university. He is Mr. Siang Sopagna from Cambodia. My hearty welcome to him. He is a visionary entrepreneur, owner of Cambodia ASEAN Institute, and Vice President of Youth Entrepreneur Association of Cambodia. Oh, you are doing a great job. And you have to bring more and more youth from 15th of July with us. He's also a board member of Cambodia Development Center and an advisor to Australian Alumni Association of Cambodia. Go, great. So we are going to get people from Australia also through you. Great. Before that, he held several managerial positions with both local and international entities. That is like a Forte Insurance Cambodia, as a senior executive for training and development, and the Khmer Rouge Tribunal as a senior interpreter. A very hearty welcome to Mr. Siang. What a pleasure to have you. I saw you in person, and today I'm going to listen to you, the beautiful notes. We extend a very hearty welcome to Mr. Atul Channa. He's from Thailand. So Swadikha. He is a CEO of Bigfoot Media Tech LLC, result-driven, known for delivering adequate revenue and profit gains within highly competitive regional markets. Exceptional communicator with strong negotiation, problem resolution, and client request assessment aptitude. Before stepping into his present position in October 2011, Atulji has been driving various private and government projects related to IT and IT security. Oh, we need a cyber security, Atulji. Project financing, technical negotiations. Yes, technical negotiations are very important. Compliance, IT infrastructure. Wow, you're going to rock the evening because everybody needs a IT and technology infrastructure. Please do talk more and more today about how we can bring the IT security, IT infrastructure, and planning for a number of prestigious organizations pan-Asia. Wow, it's going to be a great, grand evening with Mr. Atul Channa, Thailand. Hearty welcome to you. Hearty welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, a very special guest to me who has basically packaged this entire evening. It's not Dr. Gulshan Sharma. It is Mr. Sandeep Majumdar from Cambodia, the president of the Indian Chamber of Commerce in Cambodia. A very grand and a great welcome to him, because all the celebrities, those have joined this evening in this panel, it's a hard work of Mr. Sandeep Majumdarji, and I'm grateful to him, my deep gratitudes to him. He's a chairman and managing director of Curewell. What a name, beautiful name he has given, Curewell. Jitni jaldi ho jaye, theek ho jao, Curewell. And International Company Limited. Polite and sophisticated. Yes, he is polite because he hosted a lunch for me, a wonderful lunch in Kolkata, I remember. In Delhi also, I remember. But now we are in lockdown. I will give you a nice lunch after the lockdown. Let it get over. Sandeep Majumdarji has an unmatched business sense with strong conviction in ethics and relationship. Business expansion has a meaning for him only if it is accompanied with value and betterment for his people. Wonderful, hearty welcome to him. So ladies and gentlemen, let me remove the curtains and get the all celebrities right over here on the main platform, on the main stage, center stage. And it's such a great evening, such a wonderful evening. And let's start the evening. We start with you, Sandeep Majumdarji. You can set the platform because you got to take on all your friends now. And I hand over the mic and the stage to you now. I want to listen, I want to educate, and I want to learn from each one of you this evening. Whatever you can give best to the global fraternity, let's work out, because people are under lockdown in a couple of countries. Youth are not in a position to go to school, colleges, universities, and institutions. IT infrastructure, Atulji, we are going to rock on that, because IT infrastructure needs a very strong support. We need security, we need Wi-Fi, we need a seamless connectivity, and we want to reach world over everywhere. But at the same time, finally, when I talk about wellness, Sandeep Majumdarji, do bring also the inputs of health and wellness industry, pharmaceutical, and related to that issues, because if people are mentally fit, physically fit, and if they think positive, then the whole globe can be wonderful. With this, I lock my mic and I unmute your mic, and the stage is yours now. God bless and wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you. Kindly unmute your mic, please.
Dr. Gulshan, namaste. It is such a pleasure again to meet you. I would first of all like to appreciate the great work Dr. Gulshan Sharma and the entire ICSI team is doing. And this has been on almost every day affair. They have brought in so many new speakers and topics, which is an extremely good job done by ICSI. The only problem is Dr. Gulshan is such a good speaker. He's apart from being the DG of ICSI, anybody who speaks after him, it becomes a little bit of a dull story. So Dr. Gulshan, I hope you don't mind that we may we may not be that good a listener for others. So I remember the wonderful episode that we had in Cambodia, and you kept everybody spellbound as you normally do in the big gathering. And I was feeling bad that a person like you, we should have a crowd at least 1,000+ people. But I'm happy at least in today on this news, in this event, we have extremely good numbers. So thank you for that efforts. Okay, now, of course, coming back to today's topic, India-ASEAN Education Empowerment Partnership. Now, definitely, India has a lot to contribute here. Apart from, we know that US, UK, and other countries, Australia, are also known for educational hub, and India stands very much at par with all these countries. And the region that today we are discussing, ASEAN, also had good universities in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Philippines, and India has a lot of contribution to make and has done these in this region. We have special panelists like Mr. Seng Sopagna, who would be speaking on the education part because he heads that university. We have more than 2,000 students. So the technical things probably he will give you in details. However, I would like to speak more from the Chamber's point of view, wherein we would like to collaborate with people from India and abroad who would be interested to probably establish something here in this region as well. From my point of view, we would be welcoming everybody who may be interested in coming to this region. The advantage of Cambodia, as Dr. Gulshan, you are aware, even when we are here, the English-speaking facility of this country is much better compared to the neighboring countries. I'm not talking about Malaysia, Singapore, or Philippines, because that's an English-speaking country, but compared to Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos. So English is a language which is well accepted and well known. So if we can, of course, bring in universities, because we lack, there are universities, we do have universities like Pharmacy College, we do have management, we do have law and other segments, but there are certain things for which our Cambodian brothers and sisters, children, they have to travel out for higher education. As far as the schooling is concerned, we do have very standard international schools from Australia, from US, from UK and all. So that part is taken care of, but higher education is something which is still there is a scope. And I would give whoever wants to come in to Cambodia or to Myanmar, we have a friend from Rajiv there. So we would give whatever help is required for any establishment of these higher education system. Now, we have also witnessed that due to this COVID situation, this online classes which are going on for the students, this has also opened up a new avenue for people who can join these classes from they're doing it from their home. And the children have understood a new way of learning without being present physically in the classes. Now, as far as this institutions are concerned, whether it is private institutions or government institutions, I have seen in this last 25 years that I am here, that the standards have improved leaps and bounds. And there are people who are now heading organizations, NGOs and all, which are all localized now. So people who have come from abroad are also doing that. So the basic level of education in these last 25 years has improved drastically. Now, there are certain things which are probably we can help as from India. Vocational training is something which is missing. Technical education side is missing. Maybe polytechnics which are there, which can be set up here. So whoever are in these areas, whoever are watching this program today, and you happen to be from these segments, and you can probably help us out to establish this in Cambodia. I will personally assure that all required help is provided to you. I will personally see that From the government side also, whatever is required, we will rally for you. That is not a problem at all. And apart from this, as Dr. Gulshan said, that health and wellness is something which, of course, I have been related to for last 33 years. So this is something, and that's why he probably laughed at the name. It's curing and well-being. That's how I coined the name of my company. So yes, health is wealth, as it's normally said. So that is something which related to hospitals, paramedicals. We have tried to bring a lot of delegations from India, which are CT scans people, doctors, companies, and also this is also one area where we have the scope of one or two more numbers. India, as of now, we do not have a proper establishment of a hospital or wellness center. There is Art of Living, which is established here for 5-6 years, and that has gained huge applause and recognition in this country. There are followers throughout the country, and this is something which has really been appreciated by the Cambodians as it is elsewhere in the world. But for hospitals as well and educational center, these are the two segments which we have scope, and I would request anybody interested in this region should come over. There are two, I'll take another 2 minutes. I think I still have 2 minutes, Dr. Gulshan. I'll point out, I will just tell this from the point of view of the Chamber's point of view that I normally propagate. This is a country where you can have 100% foreign-owned company. It is very easy for you to come and start a business. You do not need any local partners, which is normally the case, a problem in other countries. Secondly, the taxation system, corporate tax is just 20% here, which makes the business people, the people who are entrepreneurs and investors, there's a huge difference in compared to this region as well. It's a dollarized economy, so transactions is very easy. We do not have to bother. Like in many countries, dollar in is not a problem, dollar out has a lot of problems. So this is a country which has been a dollarized economy. So that is a very positive point of view for Cambodia. Then people who are investing, the other thing that they always keep in mind is how do I repatriate my funds if I want to take that. So this country is, again, I would say a heaven. I mean, you just have to pay a 14% additional tax and you can take back your money to whichever country you want in an official way. So that is one positive part of Cambodia. Then it is in AEC, which means that whatever you do in this country, you will be catering to 630 million people, as Dr. Gulshan just said during his talk. So this is not anymore a 15 or 16 million population that you will be catering. So this is something which is a gateway to Southeast Asia and Australasia. Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. Thank you for inviting. And I leave the rest for the other speakers as well. Thanks.
I would appreciate if you conduct the program. Let you take a lead whom you would like to invite now. I hold the forum to you. I give it to you.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, so since
you can package it, you can package it.
Not a problem.
Yes.
So let us give a chance to my dear friend, Mr. Seng Sophagna, our Cambodian friend, who is, as you rightly said, he's such a lovely person and always smiling. Very, very nice welcome again to Dr. Seng Sophagna. And I would request you to kindly address in this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know why my video is not working there. Okay, it's working now. Yeah. First of all, very good evening from Cambodia to Dr. Gulshan Sharma, to my esteemed speakers today. And I'd like to join with Mr. Sandip and other esteemed panelists in thanking ICSI and particularly Dr. Gulshan Sharma for organizing such a very nice forum. It is of great benefits to many people around the world, as he has correctly pointed out. You know, I just would like to intervene briefly, particularly the assessment of the situation in Cambodia in particular with regard to education. As you know, COVID-19 has made our life difficult, particularly educators, those who are in education sectors. We have experienced the unprecedented times, you know, that the school have been ordered to close abruptly, then we had to switch our mode of teaching and administration to a completely different forms. But thanks to technology, and I very much look forward to hearing from esteemed panelists who will address on the technology for education and technology for COVID overall, to have addressed the problem, because I believe the technologies will play a very important role. We cannot avoid it. If anybody, for example, in the field of education, if he says that we don't want to go online, then probably we have to take that we don't want to have an education during this period, because we do not have any other better alternative now other than sitting online, and try to change our mindset accordingly. Okay, but during this tough time, I think it's also a call for unity, right, around the world, and call of unity for educators around the world, because we cannot bow down, in my personal perspective, to this situation. We as educators have to find ways in order to to get our students to learn, because the absence, from the class, the missed opportunity to study is really a big problem for young people. And I think this is something that we all bear moral responsibility to ensure that our children and our friends' children continue to have education. So I believe that we will have to get together to find platforms, even the one that ICSI is doing now. You bring the speaker from all around the world to share different perspectives, and now you are flagging out this topic on making education relevant during this COVID times and after COVID period. I think this is quite relevant and very important. And COVID-19 have actually plunged many people into poverty, particularly in developing countries. I know that many people want to afford their children, a very good educations, but sometimes education is not cheap. It's very expensive. So some of them may not be able to, enroll their student in this online program where they have to pay. But thanks to some generous, like university and institution, who make some ex gratia discount also for the students, so that they can have access to it. And they actually have faced a lot of challenges as well during this period. For example, limited access to internet, that is also a big challenge. The change of mindset that they have to actually be willing to abandon their traditional ways of learning, that they expect to go to classrooms. Now they have to be ready, to go online, and they have to sit in front of computer, and they have to do the work there. But I can also see some positivity in that. First of all, we get our students to be accustomed to technology. Some of them never actually play around with these technologies, but knowing going forward, they have to familiarize themselves, with technology if they want to actually move fast, because the world is actually going on this, Internet of Things and all of that. So I believe that the knowledge of technology and getting them to be ready for that actually is a positive sign for them. In Cambodia, I just like to update for everybody that the school has been asked to close since mid-March this year. It has not been allowed to open yet, but the government has already signaled to education institutions that in mid-August, they classify schools into different groups. The top tier with high standard schools that can comply with all the safety requirements of Ministry of Health will be allowed to open first. So in mid-August, we can expect that some international school will be allowed to open. And then other schools following their readiness, they will be allowed to open subsequently. Hopefully by before the end of this year, all the schools will be able to reopen. But the problem is that with some private schools, students may not be able to come back to school as soon as the schools are open. That is the problem, and the student have missed the school for some time already. But during this period, I can also notice that there are a lot of initiatives and efforts to develop various platforms to bring the student back to the platforms. And I'm very pleased about that. My institution in particular, we have enabled students from all over the country to come and study with us online. And then we actually get our teachers to conduct training face to face, but virtually on these remote means. We get them on the platform. We employ Microsoft Education. We employed, Google Classroom, and we also use Zoom to get them to meet face to face and to interact, because online learning does not take the form of solo learning, but actually it's a group learning as well through a conference call, and they can meet and interact with their teachers and ask questions, and actually they learn a lot. And I think going forward, the world will have to collaborate with each other, and then we should have more of this platform that Dr. Gulshan Sharma is initiating right now. And then I hope that people all over the world will be able to talk to each other, and we bring people and experts from all over the world to share their expertise. Now it is a great times that we actually can have 1,000 students or even more for one class, to listen to experts who have a lot to share. And I think this is an opportunity. But going forward, I hope that we will be able to exchange opinions from experts everywhere as to how we can do it even better. As for Cambodia, I'd like to concur with Mr. Sandip about the various opportunities that we have here, particularly the favorable investment environment. And I'd like to invite our friends from India and other places. Dr. Gulshan Sharma have visited Cambodia, and I think that he liked it very much. And I also have an honor to host him at my institute. In addition to favorable investment policy and environment, it is a country that I believe that is, that has a lot of opportunities, because a lot of things are still at the nascent stage that everybody can try to explore. You can do a lot of things here. For example, from my perspective as a young entrepreneurs, you can, initiate some startup and you can share with young Cambodian here, because we have some startup platforms. So for example, our Indian friends, young Indian friends who have excellent ideas on IT startup, fintechs or whatever, they can always partner up with the team here, and then they can start this initiative in Cambodia. It's very welcome. And there are a lot of fun opportunities available from both governments and private institutions like bank as well, that they actually have, this portion of loan earmarked for the support of startup as well. So I think that there will be lots of opportunities for young entrepreneurs going forward in Cambodia and after COVID-19. So I'd like to stop here, and I very much look forward to hearing from other esteemed panelists, and also very much look forward to hearing more questions I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Sandip.
Thank you so much, Mr. Supagna. It was quite energetic and extremely well spoken. Now, if I have to travel to Myanmar from Cambodia, I have to go via Thailand. So my next speaker, I think, would be Mr. Atul Chadha from Thailand. I know him for the last 7 years. He has his offices in US, in Ukraine, in Thailand, India, and Cambodia. So he will be talking about, as you just heard Dr. Gulshan a little while ago. So he is into international, what is it? Artificial intelligence. He is into Security Council. So let's hear Mr. Atul from Thailand. Over to you, Mr. Atul.
Thank you, Mr. Sandeep, and thank you, Mr. Gulshan Sharma, for inviting onto this panel. And a very good evening to you all. As Mr. Sharma had mentioned regarding the IT roles or the technology roles into current situations. Well, let me just give it a brief, about the technology. In the last centuries, the globalization brought substantial progress in many sectors. Global trade has increased the material prosperity of the people all over the world. It has strengthened the economies and improved living conditions across the globe. Thanks to technology, we are an ever more connected world now, with consumers now able to choose from an unprecedented variety of products from the global market. But that brings a lot of concerns, as Dr. Gulshan rightly mentioned, this security. The security, the technological connectivity with the current crisis has led us to increase economic distancing. This trend endangers economic welfare around the world. During the COVID-19 pandemic that hit the global market hard, weakening the international trade and corporations, technologies are playing a crucial role in keeping society functioning. In a time of lockdowns and quarantine, these technologies may have long-lasting impact post-COVID. And regarding the tech giant, the companies are contributing a lot of the technological growth or the connectivity.
Problem with Dr. Gulshan, can you, we can't hear him. Atul, your mic is muted, it guess.
Atulji, can you hear? You
Yeah,
have to
now.
unmute. You have to unmute your mic. Atulji,
No. I'll just call him better.
he has to unmute his mic. By mistake, his mic has been muted. It happens. It happens sometimes. Meanwhile, let me convey my deep thanks to Mr. Siang. It's wonderful. You have given such a wonderful notes to us. We have to go online and solo learning and group learning. That's a good concept which you have shared. Atulji, no worries. His laptop has got hanged, or just have a look at it.
Okay. Okay, so he's trying to, but his mic shows muted.
No, that's what, but he has to unmute himself.
Yeah, he has to unmute himself.
He has the right to unmute his mic. I'll try from here if I can.
Atul, your mic is muted. You have to unmute it.
No, I am unmuting it.
No, we can't.
No,
now it's okay.
Now we
it's
can
okay.
hear you.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, the technology is turning the education from teacher-centric education to, both teacher and student-centric.
No, seems there is some problem.
There is a problem. Atulji, you can switch off your, yes, that's a good thing. Don't show your video, then your audio will come very well.
Yeah, better, yes.
Go ahead with your audio, Atulji.
Or shall we take him back after?
Okay, we can go to next gentleman.
We can go to Myanmar
Yes.
then, and then we'll take him
Yes,
back
sure,
once he's
sure,
done.
sure.
So we don't waste our time. Yeah. So
Sure.
Our next speaker is my dear friend, Mr. Rajiv Raval. We were batchmates. We started our career way back in 86, 87. And he has come a long way. He started his own company in Myanmar. And you heard the introduction already. So Rajiv, it's over to you. Please, and we have your topic already. So Atul, we will take you after this, or you are back?
Yeah, please carry on. I think I need to restart. There's some problem with the Zoom.
Okay, so we go to the next speaker and we call you
please.
back once
Let me
you are
just
ready.
restart my laptop then.
Okay. Over to you, Rajiv.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome to today's webinar. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for getting me in. Again, as rightly Sandeep said, our friendship goes way back in, I think, almost 3 decades when we started our career together in India. Unfortunately, now I'm in Myanmar and he's in Cambodia, but we've been regular touch and our friendship continues in that way. And sincere thanks to Dr. Gulshan Sharma, Director General, International Chamber of Service Industry, for getting all these eminent people together. I'm pride. It's my proud to be part of this group here. Thank you so much. And as I understand from Sandeep, a lot of work has been done by CSI. It's a great to be part of this, and we look forward for some more good discussions by all your eminent speakers. Just let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I'm Rajiv Raval, and from Myanmar. I head the India-Myanmar Chamber of Commerce as a vice president here, and I own a healthcare company based out of Myanmar and Singapore as ABC International Limited. And as I have been asked to talk about the latest healthcare part in Myanmar, so I would like to give what a little experience I have of these few decades in this industry. And right now, the time what we are in the COVID-19, we all are living through an unexpected times, which will surely go down in history as a tale of resilience and cooperation. The onset of COVID-19 and the lockdown that followed was not favorable news for all of us. And more importantly, the length of disruption remains worryingly unknown. The pandemic, by very definition, remains worrying, has no religion, no borders, no race, and has affected all of us in the same way. The humankind need to collaborate more actively to deal with these kind of causes and the consequences of this pandemics. Despite the losses, what pertained was the spirit of oneness and humanity that led everyone being supportive towards each other. But there are many who lost their life members, their livelihoods. Our deepest sympathy lie with them. Now, as I initiate my discussion about Myanmar and the healthcare, Myanmar, to be honestly, I would like to congratulate Myanmar government authorities for the control measures taken by them. As a result, Myanmar did not experience high rate of mortality and the spread of infection like some European countries. Despite some of the earlier studies wherein tropic climate may slow down the transmission, mostly the scientific community taking more cautious stances on this. Another factor is mandatory enforcement of quarantine in every state and region for those returning from other states inside the Myanmar as well as those who are coming from outside Myanmar so that the transmission can be minimized. The third factor was the public awareness when people, even in the remote areas and the small towns, set up their own community quarantine centers and separated from the residential areas for those coming back from other states and from outside in Myanmar. In my opinion, they were highly aware of the virus, which I believe was a good sign, and as a result, today we are safe in Myanmar. The last factor regards what the health ministry, the suspected patients were tested, they were isolated, and those tested positive were treated in hospitals way away from the townships. Considering these facts, I feel Myanmar did not see the devastation what we have seen in the European countries, and even I'm worried about India, the way things are happening. Anyway, coming back to Myanmar, Myanmar government transition began in 2011, and the subsequent economic opening has led to significant shift in the priorities. One other sector to benefit was the healthcare, which has seen a significant amount of new funding over the last half decade from both public as well as private sector sources. The health sector in Myanmar has been improving gradually with a very significant support from the government, more so from the global funding received. The new government under the leadership of our Aung San Suu Kyi has stressed healthcare as one of the more priorities and started national health network to provide the basic healthcare services and started national, also the manifesto promise to improve the country's medical services and reduce the level of out-of-pocket spending on the medical. The goal basically by 2030, they want to achieve universal healthcare for all. The World Bank, the Global Fund, and the 3 Millennium Development Funds are further fueling momentum towards the universal health coverage in Myanmar. Government spending of health has risen almost it is almost from 20% to 34% in last 4 years. And now currently, if you look at Myanmar as a country, has fewer doctors per capita than any other country in the world, because according to WHO in 2015, there were 6.1 doctors per 10,000 people compared to 11.9 in Vietnam, 19.5 in Singapore, and 12 in Malaysia. So Ministry of Health plans to implement the Universal Health Coverage Program nationwide by 2030. The initiatives what the government has taken is really worth mentioning. To achieve the government health for all, a series of national health plan targets at improving primary healthcare services have been systematically developed and implemented in all parts of the country. The healthcare vision 2030. From 2020, it's from 2001 to 2030, has been drawn up the various future health challenges by prioritizing the following areas. Like one is that health policy and law, health promotion, health service provision, development of human resource for health, then promotion of traditional medicine, development of health research, role of cooperatives, joint ventures, the private sector and NGOs, partnership for health system development, international collaboration. Also, the new healthcare insurance scheme was introduced, which did not take off well, but now we see there are almost 11 insurance players licensed to provide health insurance as part of their offerings. And according to WHO, Myanmar has the highest out-of-pocket right now. It is around 73.9%. That's what the WHO estimations. So now when I look at Myanmar, a lot of challenges, which could be, it is challenges, also could be opportunity for people to come in Myanmar to take care of this. First of all, the hospitals. Domestic hospitals are in considerable need of improvement. Public hospitals that face funding shortages and skill gaps, resulting in uneven quality and limiting the effectiveness, with a number of NGOs and ethnic-based organizations filling the gap. Absence of proper healthcare infrastructure in Myanmar has led to boom of healthcare tourism in Myanmar last year. There is approximately 100,000 patients traveling overseas for treatment, and mostly patients are being driven to Thailand, Singapore, India, and Malaysia. So there's a good opportunity for good hospitals in Myanmar. Now, second part, if we look at pharmaceuticals, currently the Myanmar pharmaceutical industry is dominated by imports, majority. There are very handful of domestic manufacturers in Myanmar, with most market demand instead met by the product from neighboring countries, especially India, Vietnam, then we have Pakistan, Bangladesh, and of course China. Presently, the pharmaceutical market in Myanmar is estimated to 700 million, but growing exponentially. And if you look at, it's very small compared to neighboring countries. When we look at Thailand with a population of around 70 million is around 5 billion. Vietnam with a population of 90 million is around $5 billion market. So Myanmar is expected to grow very exponentially. So all good Indian pharmaceutical companies are can see this as a good opportunity for Myanmar. The way Myanmar is expected to grow by around 1.2 billion by 2024. That is what is expected by the pharmacists. Now, the third segment, when we talk about medical devices, like pharmaceuticals, most of the medical devices are imported rather than getting manufactured here. So again, there's a good scope for medical devices getting manufactured in the country. Now, despite all the several challenges in the sector, the outlook for healthcare provisions in Myanmar is very positive, and the government is very optimistic about it. The government's ambition towards implementing UHC, the relaxation of laws, and related to healthcare investment, it is expected to increase the consumer spending, along with the positive changes to the insurance industry. It's all very positive. So we see a lot of opportunities for people from India or other countries to come and set up the industry, whether it is pharmaceuticals, the hospitals. It's a good scope for the people to come and set up in this country. On this note, I would like to conclude my thoughts. There are ample opportunities to represent in the healthcare sector. Thank you for all of you for my patient hearing. Please take care of your mental, social, and physical health during these difficult times. God bless. Take care. Sandeep, your mic is mute.
Your mic is mute. Your mic is
Yeah,
mute.
okay, now it's okay. So thank you, Rajiv, for introducing about the Myanmar scenario. Thank you so much. And a lot of people who were not aware of the facilities which has happened in the last 7-8 years in Myanmar. I have seen Myanmar since '94, so I have seen the huge difference which Myanmar is today and those days. So there's a long way to go, and I'm sure Myanmar is on the right track and the right people. Now, Mr. Atul, if you are okay with your system, since you are talking about technology, I think let's see if Atul, are you there? Mr. Atul, I think you have to unmute also yourself. Dr. Gulshan ji, aapko bhi, we are not able to hear you.
No. He has to unmute his.
Atul is.
He can do it from there himself. He has to just unmute his mic.
He has to just unmute his. You can hear. Atul, आप unmute करिए अपने उसको. Then you start off your session.
And he can close the video, no problems.
Oh, okay. So you have an issue now. Whenever he's unmuting, his Zoom is crashing. So
that must be where? Okay, where is he located at present? Let him try once if he can.
Okay, so there is an issue with his.
No worries. Technical glitches will improve.
Atul, why don't you try? I think now you are visible. Or if you want to close your.
No. I would like to continue.
Yes,
please.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, now we are. Go ahead, please. I will unmute myself.
There's a problem from his end only.
His end only. Yeah.
There's a problem from his end.
So
we are deprived of getting a cyber security today.
Cybersecurity. He's back again.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
This is out here. It is.
No worries. Go ahead. Try.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Yeah. So I was just talking about the tech giant companies and contributing their computing, powers to help hospitals to perform better, to analyze better, to diagnose the possibility of and find a cure. The technology is helping all the way around.
He's gone again. Some problem with his.
I think we can. No worries. We can get on to some concluding remarks from all the speakers once, and by that time he may improve. Yeah.
Right. Or if any questions are there from any.
They were concerning our chamber only. I have replied.
Okay.
To support some of the good work which is done by NGOs. So that we have replied. I have sent across world over, because some of the NGOs are doing extremely well. They are putting in a lot of effort. Atulji.
I think he's trying.
My sincere apologies. There is something wrong. The moment I try and unmute, just in a minute and a fraction of the time, the Zoom is crashing and I have to reload the application.
No worries. Majumdar sir, I think let's go along with Mr. Siang. We can have his concluding remarks, then we can go to Rajiv ji, and finally from your side, and then we can wind up the program. It's 2 minutes past 6.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So concluding remarks from Mr. Siang. You got to unmute your mic, please. Mr. Siang, you have to unmute your mic. Mr. Siang. Mr. Siang, you have to unmute your mic. Unmute. Yes, Mr. Siang. Yes. Your concluding remarks. Oh, you have again done the mute. I'll try to help you if I can. Unmute. No.
Hello.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, once again, thank you, Dr. Gulshan Sharma, and thank you everybody for watching all over the world.
Any concluding remarks from your side for the youth? Any concluding remarks from your side for the youth?
For the youth is that we need to create a platform that we continue to stay connected from now on. I believe that the world is getting even smaller now with that. So let's try to create something through Dr. Gulshan Sharma. Maybe we have a platform that Cambodian and Indian youth, will continue to contact. Dr. Gulshan Sharma, just one remark. When I was young, Cambodian watched a lot of Indian movies, and we expect to have more Indian Bollywood movies here, and also more Indian businesses in Cambodia. Okay, but starting from the young entrepreneurs, so let's create a platform where we can connect, and reconnect.
Yeah, Mr. Siang, don't give me the blush. that when you were young, if I think that I'm 70 years young with the 20 years energy, so you are still young. Come on. You've got to carry that. You are still young. Feel that way, okay? You've got a long way to contribute to the humanity.
Yes,
And
yes, definitely. Yeah.
together, because you're in charge in Cambodia, you have a connection in Australia. Let's bring more and more youth on this program. And it's so simple, making education relevant. Making education relevant. It's so simple.
Yes.
Education has to be meaningful. It has to be related to our day-to-day life, whatever we are doing. So together, I meant to say, we would love.
We have to create a platform that actually bring a lot of substantive, the discussions and things that we can do together. So we will move to things that we can actually act on together, Dr. Sharma. Yes.
Thank you. After this webinar, I'll discuss with Mr. Majumdar how we can implement that. We will work out. Mr. Rajiv, Mr. Rajiv, if you can hear me, some concluding, unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself. Mr. Rajiv, unmute yourself. Kindly, yeah. Some concluding remarks from your side.
Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. It is really good to see you, to listen to you. Though I've been hearing a lot from Sandeep about you, and so it's really interesting to see that. And I look forward to be having more with you. But as rightly said, when we talk about healthcare as an industry, there are ample opportunities in Myanmar. Whether it is setting up the factories, industries, or skill enhancement, or in terms of surgical, there are a lot of opportunities. New hospitals. There could be a lot of opportunities for and when we talk about the youth, I feel the youth need to work more on the mental as well as the physical fitness. And the world has suddenly come to a point where all the resources which were coming so easily, and naturally everything has come to a halt. So these are the situations which we never thought of, or it has come all of a sudden, and let's be prepared for these kind of situations also. So that's how it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I would request Mr. Atulji, would you like to try it out? If it's working? Atulji? Oh, I'm so sorry. So let's get to our Cambodia President, Indo-Cambodia Chamber of Commerce. Kindly unmute your audio, and let's have the concluding remarks from your side. You are the one who is to be complimented for packaging this evening. You are the one who brought all these celebrities this evening. They all are celebrities. And there is a request coming all the way from the Middle East. Majumdar Sahab, can you sing? Because they say that Bengal people, West Bengal people sing very well. Do you sing any song of Kishore Kumar or something?
So actually, I don't mind, because it's the end of the program. People anyway will leave after singing hearing me sing.
If you can sing 2 lines, that would be wonderful, because I've got a request from Priya ma'am from the Middle East, and she is telling, so one Hindi song, please. That is the request which has come. Yeah, anybody. Some Sthai only, Sthai part, only Sthai part, not full song.
No, okay, let me listen.
Yes.
चलते चलते मेरी ये गीत याद रखना, कभी अलविदा ना कहना, कभी अलविदा ना कहना. Anyway, Dr. Gulshan is equally a good singer, because I remember have an Antachari in the toilet with him in the washroom when we were in Tanwe, and we kept on singing, I think 7 or 8 songs one after the other. And Dr. Gulshan is actually a much better singer than me. I'm not a singer at all. Anyway, Dr. Gulshan, coming back to this, now since Myanmar is there, ICSI headquarters, president is based in Bangkok, Professor Narula, and I'm here, we are all here in Cambodia. So probably we can all have an event which can bring all 3 of us together, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Thailand, with of course India, ICSI from your side. And we can plan an event this year or maybe the early next year, because this year I think traveling will be an issue. And we can always do a joint event wherein it can be in Thailand, it can be in Myanmar, wherever it can be. We can, if you remember, we had signed certain things that we will do in a combined way for the countries. So that way, if we can plan out certain things which probably can be done together in all the 3 countries. So we have time. We will probably work it out together, and we can discuss with Rajiv and Atul as well on what grounds could be easier, and we can look for a common event sometimes in early next year. And
Wonderful.
regarding this, once again, Dr. Gulshan, you are doing an excellent job along with your team. And I congratulate you, not me, myself, because you are the one who pushed me doing this. And always look forward to see you here in this region in coming year, in 2021.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
In fact, Dato Ramesh ji from Malaysia is also working very hard, who is the co-chairman of India ASEAN
Yes.
Business Council.
Right.
And we can take a lot of help of Mr. Rajiv, we can take help of Atulji, and we can take help of Mr. Siang. We will work out a strategy along with you, and we plan on to that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me, before concluding this particular thing, Gyan, when you talk about Vidya, Gyan, and all that, that means knowledge, wisdom, and education. There was an old song when Lakshmikant Pyarelal ji gave the beautiful notes. It was Sant Gyaneshwar. Movie name was Sant Gyaneshwar. I'll just give you the 2 lines of that before we close. Our friendship between India and ASEAN, our future opportunities between ASEAN and India, and of course, a lot of children are watching the program from the northeast part of India also. We got people from Nagaland, we got from Assam, we got from Manipur, we have got from Meghalaya. They all have joined over here. Very hearty welcome to them. So, in Hindi, 2 lines I would like to give you. Sant Gyaneshwar, 1967, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, from my times, because as I told you, I'm 70 years young with 20 years old boy's energy. So let me just come on that. ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगाते चलो, ज्ञान की गंगा बहाते चलो, ज्ञान की गंगा बहाते चलो. We all have to light the lamps together. Wherever we are in the world, I have started a new thing now, which I learned from one gentleman who is the principal of one of the schools. He always wishes green morning, green afternoon, and green evening, and green good night. He says, think green, talk green, walk green, dream green, because greenery is future. And if we have got greenery, so my deep regards and thanks to the gentleman. He is Dr. Gupta, one of the principal in Agra, Golden Triangle. So from him I picked up, and to my entire global fraternity, those are watching us on the Facebook watch parties live, please do keep coming. It's a pleasure to have all of you. We will have lots of deliberations. Let's empower the entire education ecosystem. The whole world is one family. The whole globe is one village. All of us together, and education only can bring all of us together and the global peace. With these words, my deepest regards and thanks to the entire ASEAN continent and all the people world over, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us this evening. Wonderful to have all of you. Look forward meeting you tomorrow evening, India Standard Time, 7 p.m. So people, those who have watched us at 5 p.m. today in ASEAN, please log in tomorrow on the Facebook, Dr. Gulshan Sharma's page at 7 o'clock, or you can come on the Zoom webinar as well. With these words, once again, my deepest gratitude and thanks to each one of you, and very special thanks to Mr. Sandeep Majumdar. Thanks a lot. Very kind of you. Thank you.